How can cocaine abuse be prevented? Well, the obvious answer is by not using, but that's not realistic. Some people are going to abuse. The weekend warriors, for example, they're going out with their friends, they're having some drinks, and they want to do some lines of cocaine. This is a very common behavior. People rely on drugs in this situation to let loose. And it doesn't mean that there's an addiction taking place, but there certainly I would say the word substance abuse in the situation. And it's not a problem unless it starts having impaired quality. I mean, as a medical professional, obviously using drugs is not healthy, but some people do use, and they do use responsibly, and this is called harm reduction. And this school of thought says, well, if they're going to use, that to at least try to minimize the harm it causes to them and to others. And this is on this line of reasoning that I'm speaking of now. And in this situation is to prevent abuse is to try to control intake, not to take excessive doses, to try to slow down as the night goes on. Unfortunately, this cocaine and crack are both highly addictive, and when a person starts coming down off the drug, which is very quickly after intake, they start craving more, and this can spiral and escalate, and they can end up using more and more frequently to achieve the same effect. And then it ends up being, for most people, really not worth it in the end. Because what happens, they might have fun partying, but what do they feel when they're tossing and turning at night and they can't sleep, their nose is congested and blocked? And I think it's at that situation that they really need to consider, is it worth it in the first place? So that's how we control cocaine abuse, is people sometimes need to learn things over and over again. I certainly did when it came to the opioids in my personal experience, but I know that I have tried cocaine in the past, and that tossing and turning and being a slave to the drug really turned me off of it. I didn't like the idea of craving something so quickly after I took it earlier on in my life, and the fact that I would toss and turn and couldn't sleep at night really bothered me. That's the hangover. That's the side effect of it. And that's something for cocaine users to realize, that it might be fun for a couple hours, but it's not worth it when they end up tossing and turning, can't sleep, and they're feeling worse stress and anxiety, and they have to ask themselves, is it worth it? So to summarize this one, to prevent cocaine abuse is to not use it all, but if they're going to use, to employ harm reduction strategies, to try to minimize their use and try to increase the time and the duration, try not to increase as much use of the drug, and really to ask themselves when they're tossing and turning at night and they can't fall asleep, to question the big picture and is it worth using in the end.
We've helped over 1 million Americans completely recover from substance abuse. Call now at 1-800-615-1067. Call now.